This is One Punch Man Season 1, a masterpiece of animation that set the standard for an entire decade, and this is Season 3. Yes, this is real. Fans have been waiting for years for the new season, and this is what they got. A sliding PNG. This is so bad that the manga looks like it has more movement. And because of that, the streets have called my name once more, and that means that it's time that I attempt to reanimate this whole scene entirely by myself. No studio, no AI, just me, myself, and I. So, the first step to reanimate this scene is to analyze the evidence. Firstly, let's do a quick little breakdown of the 7-cut crime scene that I'll be reanimating and just see how deep the damage goes. It starts off with a still frame, literally a static image of some kids bullying the ugly kid. No animation at all, just a cheeky little pan of the characters. Then Garou takes a deep breath to yell at the bullies. And I've got a bit of a pickle with the art direction here. It could have looked way better, especially considering just how good the manga looks. When he finally yells stop, the animation is unbelievably stiff. It's only a few drawings, and the only part that moves is his mouth. The drawing itself isn't horrible, but yeah. And then this. The scene that earned this season the title One Frame Man. Garou sliding down a hill. It's just a sliding PNG in a bland wide shot that's dragged out way too long. It's lazy, it's cheap, and it's the moment the entire community realized that something was severely wrong with the production. And then the scene sorta just gives up. Garou steps in, but his mouth doesn't move when he's speaking. The kid looking up at him is just a simple fast animation with no soul or uniqueness. And the final drawing of Garou here looks weak as hell, especially when you compare it to the beautiful drawing of the manga. This is what Murata drew. The detail, the vision, the beautiful drawings. The studio had failed in totality, especially after such a long, crippling wait. So my mission here is to try to do justice to all of these 7 cuts to the best of my ability. So here is the brand new blueprint for One Punch Man Season 3, Bunaye's version. This is the official storyboard animatic for my version of this scene. This is nowhere near the final animation, it's only just the raw blueprint for now. But you could already see the difference. The camera movements, the poses are stronger, the yelling has weight, and the slide will now actually have animation with a dynamic pan, not just a PNG that slowly falls off a cliff. But this is nothing more than just an idea. It is now time to bring it to life. First up, we have to build the foundation. And what the f happens when you don't have a strong foundation? It falls apart. In animation, the foundation is the art itself. You can have smooth movements and flashy effects, but if the drawings themselves are weak, the whole thing just collapses. That was exactly one of the problems with the anime. The still frames in this scene just had no life to them. So the very first cuts I'm reanimating are the still frames and weak drawings. For that first frame, I created an actual animation of the bully pulling the kid's cheek back and forth with weighted lines, which I haven't done in forever. And for Garou's deep breath, I redrew it to actually show his face more clearly, getting that intense expression from the manga with a little twist of my own. But the most important frame was the final cut. The anime's drawing of Garou just looked off. I spent a ton of time just on this one drawing, trying to get it as close as I could to Murata's version, using a 3D model to help me out with the angle. Obviously, the manga was superior, so I used that as my only guide. Honestly, there's something so subtle about this drawing that really inspired me, so I tried my best to do this shot justice. And with that, the foundation is solid. But before I show you these shots, I gotta quickly put y'all onto some secret sauce, because I care about you beautiful people's safety while browsing the web. So let me tell you about CyberGhost VPN, who are kindly sponsoring today's video. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. Every time you hop on the internet, there's eyes on you. Your internet provider is watching. Your school or job's Wi-Fi, they're watching. Even incognito mode, it does absolutely nothing. But CyberGhost VPN fixes all of that. With literally just one click, they encrypt your entire connection and bounce it through one of their 100+ secure locations worldwide. Meaning, whatever you're doing online becomes completely private, like nobody can see a thing. And here is my favorite part. It unlocks content. If a show, anime episode, or even a game is blocked where you live, just switch your virtual location and boom, CyberGhost opens it right up. They work with 40+ streaming platforms, including Netflix, Prime, and Disney+, just to name a few. Plus, you can protect 7 different devices at once, so your phone, PC, and tablet will be completely covered. And because they're sponsoring this video, you guys get quite the crazy deal. If you guys use my link, cyberghostvpn.com/Bunaye, you will get 84% off, which comes out to a whopping $2.03 a month. And you get 4 extra months for free. They also give you a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk at all. Here's a new liner for those cuts with no color or effect for now. So the drawings for these next few scenes are pretty good, but a good drawing without good animation is just not gonna cut it for something as legendary as One Punch Man. The soul of the animation is the motion itself. The anime's version was stiff, lifeless, and felt quite cheap. Garou yells, but only his mouth moves. The kid looks up, but it's just a simple fast motion with no emotion. Garou speaks, but his face is frozen. It's time to fix that. We're giving this scene its soul back. Or Garou, stop, yo! I didn't just animate the mouth. My version is far smoother with more in-between frames, and I animated his eyes and eyebrows moving with the yell to show actual effort and expression. For the kid looking up, the animace was just a quick robotic movement. I wanted something a little more realistic, so I used a 3D model as a reference to track the camera as he looks up from the ground. It's a big change, but it adds a ton of emotion, and in my opinion, looks pretty unique. And in the cut where Garou steps in, I actually animated his mouth opening and closing, which I will later sync with his words, and I even added little details like the tears falling from the kid's face and hitting the ground. These are the small details that make the scene feel alive. And with that, the soul is now in. Here is how those stiff cuts look now with fluid motion. So, the weak art is fixed and the stiff motion now has soul. But now we have to fix the biggest crime of them all. The one that earned this season the title One Frame Man, the Garou slide. The anime shot was just a single, lazy PNG in a bland, static, wide shot. It practically has zero appeal. So, I restaged the entire shot. My version will feature a dynamic pan, so I made the canvas wide, just like in the manga. It starts off with the bullies running away and the kid crying. Then it's gonna pan right to follow Garou sliding down the hill. And he's no longer just a keyframe PNG. I'm still gonna keyframe the main motion down the hill since he is sliding. There's not much you can do about that, but I added actual animation to his body. A little bounce, like he's dancing. It's that tiny detail that makes it a little bit more believable when he's keyframe sliding down. Let's just take a quick moment to appreciate this. By the way, if you've made it this far and didn't skip to the end of the video, you should comment something random like red chicken to confuse all of the fake frauds with no attention span that just skipped to the end of the video to watch the final animation. I also animated some dust that will be trailing him, and when composited, it's gonna appear as if there's a final crouch to transition to the next shot. And just like that, all of the shots of this reanimation are now animated. Here is what we got so far. But we're not done just yet. Right now we have the foundation and we have the soul, but a masterpiece on a blank canvas is just a sketch. It's time to add the atmosphere, the color, and the environment that actually sells the moment. This is the step that makes all 7 cuts feel like they belong in one cohesive cinematic scene. First up, the coloring. To make this look as accurate as possible, I grabbed the colors straight from Garou's official character sheet, and for everything else, the kids, the environment, I just had to eyeball it and guess as accurately as I could. For the most part of the anime, the backgrounds were actually quite good, except for the one in cut 5. This shot where Garou steps in, the atmosphere was incredibly bland. You can't even tell what's going on in the background. It just sort of fills the whole scene. And to speed up the process for all of these backgrounds, I cleverly used some textured brushes that I downloaded from the Clip Studio Paint asset store. And by the way, I get asked this all the time. Clip Studio Paint is the program I use for all my animations. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a cheeky little link in the description. We have our strong foundation, our soul, and our atmospheric color. But this is still just a bunch of finished shots. This is the final and most critical step that will take everything to the next level, compositing. Since this scene features a sunset scenery, I added some optical flares to really add that beautiful cinematic glare. For the characters, I was heavily inspired by the compositing style of Studio Ufotable. I used their technique of adding soft gradients across the characters to make them pop from the background and feel more 3D. And for Garou, to give him aura, I made his eyes glow. It makes him stand out, and it's a selfish addition on my end, I'm not gonna lie, just because I think it looks cool. So yeah. Finally, I went on to the Garou slide and layered in all the effects we planned, the keyframe motion, the dust trails, and the final crouch transition, blending it all together to make it as seamless as I possibly could. I then dragged everything into DaVinci Resolve for color correction, some finishing touches, and the audio, which will wrap up this whole project. I hope this inspires you guys to appreciate just how much love goes into animation, even when studios don't have the time to show it. Animation is incredibly hard, and at the end of the day, something the audience should know is that the animators themselves are almost never the problem. It's usually a story of impossible deadlines and a broken system. But as fans, all we have is what's on screen. And for a series as legendary as One Punch Man, it deserves to have every bit of passion and energy that Murata and One poured into the source material. So if you enjoyed this video, please do go ahead and like and subscribe. It's seriously seriously helps me out a ton. Thank you guys for all the love and support. It's all been amazing. Also, don't forget to click the link in the description if you want to check out CyberGhost VPN. It's currently 84% off and you get 4 months for free. And with all the yapping out the way, here's the final animation. Enjoy.
Yeah. なんてひでえ面で泣いてんだ。こりゃいじめられるわ、かわいそうに。よ、1日に2度も会うとは奇遇だな。